So I'm not playing or anything today, but we're just gonna go over the M4 builds that we made the other day before I went to work, and then I'm going to bed. So loadout wise, this is basically what we came up with the M4. We have two different loadouts. These are the best ones that we've basically been using for a while now. We've also been testing all of these with the uh, Commando faction, so that also has kind of affected us a little bit. So this is the, I would say, base M4, but it is pure accuracy when it comes to using the M4, and it's very accurate for the most part. You don't get any movement speed with this gun, which is probably its biggest downside. It is not a run and gun kind of gun, but even if you are kind of playing more aggressive, the gun's so accurate that if you hit your headshots, you can still win fights. But with the commandos in particular, because you have less health than everybody, etc., it forces you to use more cover and kind of positioning when you use this gun. And that's where it really shines, is being able to kind of pop out, do some damage, pop in, do some damage, and then kind of hold people down. We've been able to hold 3 or 4 people in one spot just with this gun. Now, here is the trade-offs that you can do. Right now, you got 47 vertical recoil and 41 horizontal recoil. So we're getting our horizontal recoil so low that we basically don't really have to worry about missing shots, and you can laser beam snipers from across the map with this thing. Now, you could potentially get rid of the quick mag and do something like a heavy grip or whatever and get this down to 40%, and that's going to be about as good as you can get it. But there's no reason to really give up the quick mag, because if you don't reload fast enough, people can push you. So it's not the best thing ever. Now, the other thing that you can do, I believe, was we did stabilizing barrel. So you get this 46 and 41%, and then you swap this over to a vertical, and now you get 41% vertical and 42% horizontal. So depending on how you want to run the gun, those are the two options for the most part. So stabilizing barrel and vertical, but you're giving up your magazine, but you'll have very, very, very accurate shots at distance. You will completely annihilate somebody with this at a distance and stuff as long as you hit your shots. And this is as accurate as you're possibly going to get this gun. Just in total, in general, I don't think it even comes close to how accurate this thing can be. But you do have some of the negatives with the attachments here. The main negative being that you don't get a fast mag. Now, with this at 41 and this at 47, it's basically the same. I don't notice a huge difference between the two because the horizontal recoil is the main one that matters, and the other one really isn't that big of a deal because, I mean, you can pull down and hit most of your shots anyway. And with this, you get the fast mag, which is why I would tell you just probably to use this instead of the other one. But if you want the most maximum extreme amount of, damage, you could potentially go for the other one. And that is all up to you. Now, we've also been testing out things with the suppressor, but stuff on that is not really, conclusive. It's kind of so-so with the suppressor, because sometimes this seems like it does a whole lot, and then other times it's like the people just, they're so good that they know where the suppressor is, even if you shoot it from across the map. They just know exactly where you are no matter what. Now, the second build that we got for the M4 is going to be a little bit more interesting for you. So this is the close range M4, and you notice that we don't have any movement speed on this. But if you want to make an M4 where you get movement speed, you can get to, 1.3, 1.4 movement speed and move ridiculously fast side to side. But after you use the accurate M4 build for a little while and you get used to using cover and positioning, you realize that you don't necessarily need to move super fast to dodge a lot of shots when you can kind of use the cover, move around behind the cover and stuff, pop back out. So this is actually pretty good at killing people. It's not so good at dodging multiple people's fire, if that makes any sense. This is also the build that I would suggest if you wanted to use a suppressor, I would do this because it's close range, and we were running that for a little bit. So if you're running against guns that don't necessarily require a rapid fire barrel, you can swap that out. You could potentially swap this fast mag out and go for a suppressor. I've did that before as well, but just know that you won't be as effective close range versus multiple people if you don't have that fast mag. And I don't like this gun without an optic, so that's kind of my biggest issue here. Now, what this gun is, for the most part, is that the M4, its TTK isn't super amazing, and even with all of the barrel attachments and rapid fire and everything else, you can only get it to like, 380 or something, right? Now, things like the ACR, this gun can get dumpstered on by an ACR when it's like stock or using a different build setup because the ACR's base like kill rate with the rapid fire attachments and stuff is like 350 milliseconds or something. It's something pretty low. I would have to look it up at the moment. Now, what this gun is doing is if you are in a fight and you're just firing and someone comes over and you just shoot at each other, then you're probably going to lose, all things being equal, because if you're firing and they're firing at the same time, you will end up dying because your TTK is lower usually. And with me playing the commandos, I generally have less health than other people, and I don't have burn damage and all that stuff, right? Now, what we're doing is we put on the uh, rapid fire barrel, increase the fire rate up by like 40. This decreases our TTK down by quite a lot, which I should still have the website pulled up. We'll go find it real quick. Oh, I might have closed it. But that's fine. Basically, the time to kill drops down to like, I don't know, 385 or something along those lines. It's still too slow to really do anything. The other one drops it down a little bit more, but not much. But as soon as you put on these two attachments, and you could technically just use one of these attachments, but you'll notice they give massive bonuses to the sprint out time. So they drop it by like 27 or something for each of them, which is pretty big. So right here we have like a 54 millisecond increase or decrease to the sprint out time. So anytime we're sprinting with this gun and we need to fire, we get 54 milliseconds, and then we're getting the 20 or 30 milliseconds from this, and it basically pushes our kill time down as long as we're sprinting and me and the other guy are sprinting at the same time and we both ADS at the same time. I should have a faster kill time because I'm getting like 70 off of this, which will push it below where the ACR's time to kill is. So as long as you're rushing up to an ACR and you're pulling your gun up first, you should have the ability to win. And that, I think, is the same with the AK, but I haven't really looked at it. But if you say take one of these attachments off, this will bump up to like 230 or something, and then you're going to be kind of in a similar ballpark to where those guns are when it comes to your TTK. And I tried it a little bit. I just don't think it felt as good. So as far as I can tell, just running both of these, you're going to be doing way better. You aim super quick. You can sprint all the time, and you just sprint, pop up your gun, and shoot it. And it covers up the M4's main weakness when you're not using cover. So basically, with the M4, use the super accurate version. You start using cover. You learn how to position. You want to use cover as much as you can, and you want to like get down underneath stuff, get into the cover, shoot, kind of head glitch yourself in places. And then you go to this gun, and you basically use the same tactics that you do with the other one, where you're using cover, you want to head glitch, you want to shoot people, keep going into cover. But now, when you sprint out of cover, you don't have that weakness really anymore if someone pops up in front of you, because you have a quicker TTK, because you're going to put your gun up faster than the other person. But it also means that you're potentially going to be getting your bullets on target first, which could potentially affect their aim or whatever else, or their decision making. Because like many games, kind of like fast paced games like Call of Duty and stuff, like even myself, if you go into a fight and you take shots before you get the other shots going, and you know the TTK times of weapons, then you might try to dodge out of the fight and then reset it, because you just can't win. So with this, you get the first bullets on, they kind of panic, they have to kind of decide if they're going to be able to win that fight or whatever, and you should be able to kind of handle yourself. But this gun, it has the fast mag, it has faster draw off that sprint time than pretty much any gun out there for the most part. Rapid fire just helps it a lot, but the recoil is a lot crazier, I would say. But this is also a gun where you could kind of say using the suppressor would be really good, because using the suppressor close range just keeps you hidden. But and they're like, it's so 50-50 with the suppressor, because I like the idea of the suppressor, but there are times where like you're running a suppressor and you'll have a full team of 4 just like run past you, and you'll be sitting there shooting them in the back and no one even notices. And then you'll have times where like you're on a map, you're flanking around, you like shoot somebody in the back, and then some guy like across the map, just like he was running away from you, and he just 360s goes straight for you. So hard for me to say, but I would say that fast mag is probably better overall. But if you're wanting to do a kind of maybe less aggressive but more like fallback sort of build, or you want to rely on your secondary, I think this can also be viable. Because if you're using cover and stuff properly, you can still use the secondary weapon pretty effectively, depending on which one you're running and all that. But I'm not really afraid to use the secondary weapon with the M4. And a lot of times also, like if you're losing a fight, swapping to your secondary could potentially help you outmaneuver somebody, or get away. Because if we go look at, this is just it doesn't really matter what weapon I'm using, but if you look at this weapon, like, it's still going to have a decent amount of damage. You can still kill people with this, finish them off. So a 1v1 match, you should still win even if you're rocking a suppressor with the M4. But the pistol can finish this off pretty quick. And then I believe you can run a little bit faster, so you could potentially put like a leather wrap or whatever else that you want. Maybe get a little bit extra movement speed. We haven't even fully finished this out apparently, but all in all, I think these are probably the best M4 weapons that I've used for the most part. And I've tested a lot of combinations for the M4. I've been beating my head against the wall the last few days, just trying to see what I could do with these and trying to get something to work, and also using the police faction because they just look better. And I would say these are actually pretty solid. The vertical foregrip one, though, on this, if you set that up and you don't care about having a fast mag, ooh, like I'm talking butter smooth, just doming across the map. But I'm gonna go to bed. Y'all guys have a good one. Feel free to test these out. Tell me what you think, whatever, and then I guess if anyone has any ideas of anything I should try later, maybe I will, but I will be bouncing back to Star Citizen at some point to test out new stuff going on there. So, y'all guys have a good one, and God bless.